What's up, everyone? Welcome to another cracka crumbs update. Don't mind the hat, just feeling a little goofy. Anyway, just messing. Lots of stuff to go over today on this lovely update. A couple things I want to talk about, and of course today is new comic book day, so I'll show you my lovely haul. One thing that I was happy that I finally got was a bag and a board for my Spectacular Spider-Man #2. Yay! Very cool. Alrighty. Lots to go into. Lots of stuff. King Joe, I want to say that video, your latest video, was freaking awesome. When you were talking about comic book prices, and you're 100% correct. It really is. It's out of hand, and I'm kind of like everybody else. I'm forced to not only cut back, but get to the point where I can't even collect it at all because it's just way too much, and I'm just gonna have to really limit myself to maybe one or two titles, if that. But some funny things happened today. I'm a little pissed off, but then again, I guess I'm a little calm, I guess would be the thing. Before I get into that, and before I get into my comic haul, because it kind of coincides, I wanted to go over King Joe stuff. You know, I agree with you. You probably are going to agree with me when I say that comics definitely should be for kids first, and work their way up. I mean, when I was a kid, like I said, it was like E for everyone. You can go, you get a Spider-Man comic, you have to worry about anything. You could buy a Batman comic. Granted, he was a little more violent than Spider-Man, but back in the day, he wasn't that bad. And nowadays, obviously, everything has ratings, and it's all T for teen, and so on and so forth. It's a pain in the ass. But if you really, really think about it, I mean, it sounds really evil. Me personally, I think that if I was to buy a comic for my kid, I'd obviously check it out first. Spider-Man, like, you don't really have too much to worry about because Spidey's kind of kept along the moral lines, I guess. But if you really look at it, it's actually a lot of different faults there. A couple weeks ago, I just went to a comic book store just to look around. I wasn't buying anything. I was just kind of soaking up the atmosphere. And I saw a little kid pick up. He had to have been 9 or 10 years old. Had to be. And he picked up a T for, teen, or like a, whatever the hell the rating is on these things now. And nobody checked him. His father gave him $5. He walked in the store, grabbed it, and, So it's not like a video game where most video game stores, you pick up a T for teen and it's a little kid buying it, they're going to be like, oh, you have to be over 18, or so on and so forth. So it's a weird kind of blurred line, I guess. But again, like you're saying, like how comics should be for kids, it's kind of funny because it also, a good example is like if you look at wrestling. I don't know if anyone's a wrestling fan out there. I'm a wrestling fan, but from the old days, like in the 80s, it was all, I mean, granted, it was really cheesy back in the 80s, but it was cool. It was entertainment. Like everyone, like Hulk Hogan, he would get crazed, pumped up, and Hulk out on somebody and do his leg drop, and that would be the end of it. But if you used the chair, you were disqualified immediately. Then, of course, in the middle 90s, it went insane and started doing all sorts of crazy stuff. You had the divas coming out with, like, basically nothing on. Everybody was in Playboy. Kane was zapping people's balls. It's just really out of control. And now it's funny because McMahon's wife, once again, is into politics, so now they try to bring it back to the old, like, 80s ways in a roundabout sort of way. Which is good. I mean, I did like the wrestling from the middle 90s and up. It was interesting. It was crazy, but I'm an old school guy. I'd rather watch the 80s ones than the other ones. But kind of same thing with the kids. 80s stuff was great, and the newer stuff is just out of hand. And anyway, definitely with like prices, you're definitely right. Again, 100% with that. It's getting insane. It's getting ridiculous. And I was going to the comic book store. It's a couple minutes away from me, and this is why I'm pissed, but then I'm kind of calm. So it's weird. I found my balance, I guess. We had a major, well, not a major storm, but a pretty bad storm last night. So everything's like everywhere. Branches are here, branches are there, blah blah blah. Cable doesn't work. Whole big thing. I'm driving to my comic book store, and of course, the road you have to go down. There's two ways you can get to the comic book store. Basically, the comic book store's here. You can come from this way, or you can come from this way. There's no this way and there's no that way. Coming from this way, let's use that as an example. And of course the way's blocked. They got two huge loco trucks, you know, facing each other, and a guy there saying you can't go through because they're doing construction. So I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I go around the back way, come from this way now. I'm like, you know, maybe it's got to be something. Driving this way, and of course, the right way you have to make the turn, they have it blocked off with cones. You can't make the turn. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So then, the road is open, but you can't make the turn to get down the road. So I'm like, this is just ridiculous. So I go down these other side streets that you can kind of enter the road a certain way. And of course, every side street I went down was a dead end. So I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And then I find the one side street that leads to the road I needed to be on. And I get down there, and a cop stops me. And I'm like, Eesh. And I was like, yeah, because there's like, you know, there was cops like all over the road. And I'm like, he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I wanted to get to the comic book store. It's right, you know, down this street. He's like, you can't drive down there. He's like, because they're fixing the road or whatever. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He's like, if you want to walk down there, he's like, you can park right here. He's like, I don't have a problem with that. And he goes, but you're not going to drive down there. So I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I backed up. I parked the car. And then after the cop just said I could park there, another cop comes over and says, you can't park here. You got to park down the road. So I had to go further down another street. I parked there, and the cop, you know, I start walking. I walk past the cop. He's like, all right, you know, that's fine. It took me about 30 minutes, 35 minutes to get to the comic book store walking from where I was. And I'm looking at the street that is under construction. Nothing was happening. There was nothing there. There was a little itty bitty tree that they were cutting up, which was nowhere near the road. They must have pulled it to the side of the road. Then, as you get to the comic book store here, on this side where it was blocked, there's just guys sitting there having lunch, you know, just sitting around doing nothing. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So, I get to the comic store already pissed off to begin with, so I'm like, alright, that's a lot of fun. I'm already 45 minutes late into the thing, because they open at 10. And I'm like, great. I was like, but maybe, because people had such a hard time getting there, I won't have to worry about missing comics. And I'm like, alright, you know, so at least I got that going for me, right? Wrong. I get there, and I walk in, and I look for the, obviously I'm looking for the zeros. I'm trying to collect a lot of the zeros. I'm looking for them, and they only had a couple. And I'm like, alright, wait a minute. I was like, where's, you know, where's the Justice League? Where's, you know, Batwoman, all these things? And I asked the guy there, and I'm like, you know, did they come out today? I'm pretty sure they did. He's like, oh yeah, they're already gone. And I'm like, I was like, how are they already gone? I was like, well, you've been open. I was like, they did make it. It's kind of hard to get to your store today. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, a lot of people complaining about that. You know, they're doing road work and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But you know, he's a nice guy, so I wasn't taking on him because he really is a cool guy. I was just like, you know, just pissed off, and I'm like, well, how many Justice League did you have? I was like, just out of curiosity. He's like, oh, we only had the pulls, which were like, I think like 60 or 70, and they were all pulled already. And I'm like, Jesus. I was like, you don't get any extras in? He's like, not really anymore. He's like, maybe we'll get like 1 or 2 extras. He goes, and then we order the second printings, and we'll have plenty of those. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Not that the second printings are bad, but I'd rather have the first printing to have it as a collection thing. If I wanted to read something, just to read it, I would have got the second printing. So I'm like, alright. So I grabbed a few of the ones that they had, which weren't many. And I'm like, this sucks. And I was just pissed because I'm looking at the prices, and you know, they're $3.99, and you know, $2.99 isn't too bad. I mean, it does blow, but when you get to the $3.99 and the $4.99 books, you're like, all right, this is just insane. So I grabbed a couple books, like I said, and I was like, all right, you know, I'm walking around. I was looking at the back issues, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, you know, do I really want to be bothered? And I'm like, do I really want to, because I was going to drive to the comic book store I used to go to all the time and helped out over there, you know, worked a little bit, and I haven't been there in a long time, so I figured, you know, what the hell, maybe I'll go down there and I'll take a look, you know, so I went up to the counter, and the guy, this is at a mock time, and the guy there, Larry's a very cool guy, very, very nice. And he walked away, and somebody else has helped me that I'd never seen before. And there was this guy. It was kind of interesting because this guy comes up and he's like, oh, can I have my pulls? And the guy's like, yeah, no, no problem. So he goes and gets his pulls. And he's in front of me. I didn't, think anything of it. I didn't care, whatever. And he had all the zeros, especially the ones I wanted. So I was like, you bastard. Then I was gonna like, ugh. So he's got all the zeros, and they were $2.99, $3.99, whatever it is. Superman stuff like that was a little more. And he goes and tells the guy behind the counter, because they rang him up, and they were having problems with the register to begin with, so he had to be paying cash. So this guy was pissed off to begin with. He's like, "Oh, I got to pay in cash. This sucks." So he's bitching and moaning, and then all of a sudden, the owner or whoever, the manager, or whatever, comes out, and I've never seen him before either. And he's like, what's the problem? He's like, I have to pay cash for these. I didn't want to pay cash, and you're charging me cover price for these things, and I buy stuff here all the time. I've been coming here, you know, since your last location, and I want to get treated better, or I'm gonna stop buying my books here, and I'm gonna go somewhere else. So the manager turns around and goes, "Oh, no problem, no problem at all." Gives this guy a huge discount. Just goes, "All right, whatever." Gives him like I think like 20% off um, the new books. So I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And so he gets his discount and he's happy as hell. And now that he has to pay cash, he got a discount on it. So he walks out, and I walk up, and the guy Larry comes over, and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" I'm like, "It's good to see you." Talking to him because he is a nice guy. And I only had a few, and they didn't have any of the ones that were $3.99, the ones that I was looking for too. And I said to him, I was like, what was with that? He was like, "Oh, when push comes to shove, he's like, we're allowed to give discounts on the new books." He's like, "But only to people who've been shopping here a long time." And I'm like, "Well, I've been coming here a long time. I never got a discount." So he's like, "All right, no problem." So he gave me 20% off on the cover price of these. So I'll show you what I got from my mock time. I got Captain Atom #0. This was the last copy they had there. This was Supergirl #0, which I haven't even had time to even bag them. And some of them, as I'm noticing now, this was the last one, and it's got a crease going down the back. Son of a bitch. I was in such a hurry. That's my own fault. Red Hood and the Outlaws #0. Blue Beetle #0. And I'm kind of holding it weird because I just cut my finger on a damn needle. So, well, needle and thread. I was trying to fix some stuff, and of course it was laying on the thing, and I forgot it and got me. But so, Birds of Prey #0. Green Lantern New Guardians #0. And Catwoman #0. Those are the ones I got from my time. Now, the other ones I was looking for, that a lot of zeros definitely came out today, and I'm sitting here and I was kind of pissed off, but I was kind of happy that I got discounts. Like I said, I was pissed, but I'm calm. I'm like, I called my fiance at work, and I was like, I couldn't get Justice League, I couldn't get Wonder Woman, I couldn't get Nightwing. They didn't have any. So she's like, "All right, well, if worse comes to worse," she's like, "you can just go on Midtown Comics," and and I'm like, "Yeah, but it just sucks because I can't stand paying shipping when it's something that I could get around here, and well, obviously Midtown Comics is in New York, and I'm like a good hour and a half away from New York, but I was like, "You know what?" And she's like, I don't care what you want to do. If you want to order them from," she's like, "pay the extra shipping," because Midtown's kind of cool. They discount the books, and then it's kind of like you're discounting the books, but you're paying for the shipping. So it's like you're not paying shipping. It's I don't know how you want to go about that, but instead of a $2.99 book, they'll charge you $2.49, stuff like that. But then I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what? There's Collector's Kingdom. It's like a 30-minute drive from me, and there's Bailey's that I used to work at, and I was like, do I go to Collector's Kingdom? I was like, because they're really good with the new issues and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what the hell, I'll go to Bailey's. I haven't been there in a long time. And I forgot how great the comic book store is, because the manager, Trung, used to hang out with him all the time. This guy, Charlie, that works there, cool guy. And the owner, Tom, very, very cool. And when you go in there, it's one of those stores that it's the way that I would want to run my store, where everyone is friendly as hell. They're more than happy to help you. And I walked in and I was like talking to the manager, Trung, I was like, hey, what's up? He's like, yeah, how you been? I haven't seen you in a long time. And I'm like, yeah, I've been kind of busy lately. And he's like, what brings you here? And I was like, comics, obviously. So he laughed. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I went to this other comic store. I was like, as much as I would love to come here, it's just the distance. And I was like, especially with gas prices and stuff like that. So he's like, yeah, he's like, which ones you looking for? And I was like, I told him ones I wanted. So I didn't even have to look on the shelf. He's like, yeah, no problem. Hang on a sec. Ran and he grabbed all the other zeros that I was looking for. So I basically, hang on. He got me Wonder Woman #0, Nightwing #0, Legion of Superheroes #0, Justice League #0, and Batwoman #0. And then, to my surprise, because the other comic book store didn't have it, I was looking on the shelf and he had one left, and that was Demon Knights #0. I wasn't able to get the last time because they ran out of them. So I'm just kind of happy I found one that I would have missed. Now, those are all the zeros. Anyway, so I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, I was telling him what was going on, how the comics was a pain in the ass, and they're not evil there, but it's just kind of stupid how they only order the pulls a lot lately. And I mean, it is a smart move in a way because you're guaranteed your sales, but it sucks for people who aren't doing any pulls, especially when they claim they don't do them anymore. You're kind of screwed. So it's like, yeah. So he's like, yeah, he's gone to that place too, and he's like, every time I go there, he goes, they always tell me, like, when I make a comment about the comic books, he's like, well, we're not technically a comic book store, we're more of a toy store. Which is kind of true, because it's weird, because when you walk into the store, the right side is basically all comic books. It's like, the new releases against the wall, trade paperbacks against this side of the wall. Then there's a couple of paperbacks here, and then, bags and boards. And then it's basically a huge display case of, statues and stuff like that. Then it's a huge bin area with all the back issues for comics. And then it's all toys everywhere else. But, it's kind of both. It's a toy comic book store, basically, what any comic book store should have. They should have, But whenever they get in trouble, like he was saying, like a lot of his friends do go there instead of always going to Bailey's. You like to change it up from time to time. They say the same thing. Is like whenever we criticize something, they always say, "Oh, it's not really a comic book store. We don't make our money off the comics. We make our money off the toys. So we really don't give a shit." Amazing, absolutely amazing. But it is still an awesome store to go to. I mean, even though sometimes they get a little bit on your case. But again, from Bailey's, I bought a lot more stuff than I was gonna. And I told my fiance, I was like, I'm having just one hell of a day. So she kind of said, go ahead, get what you want and don't worry about it, today. And, just don't go too crazy. So from Bailey's, I actually got this because they didn't have this in the other comic book store. And I just thought it was an awesome looking cover. It's Batman Beyond Unlimited #8. And this is a $3.99 book, which is a bitch. Which so was the Justice League. That was a $3.99 book. But the cool news is, which I'll get to you in a second. Just want to show you the other ones before anything else. I got Daredevil #18, which apparently has a new villain. That's just an awesome looking cover. I know Mongo Stomp 07 is going to love this one. And I picked this up because I just thought it was awesome. It's a second printing, but I figured what the hell. It's Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe #2, where he looks like Wolverine. And one other comic I got, because the manager there, Trung, like I said, I've known him for a long time. And my friend has been telling me about this. He's like, you really should get, the Ghostbusters comic. He goes, it's really, really good. And I'm like, I don't know. And then, of course, the manager Trung's like, yeah, I was telling him, I was like, oh, what do you know about the Ghostbusters stuff? He's like, oh, man, he goes, we can't keep it on the shelves. He goes, it's really, really good. And I'm like, you know what the hell? I was like, do you have any left? He's like, well, we just got the new ones in. And he goes, it's number 13. And I'm like, ooh, my lucky number. And I looked at it, and the cover was just awesome. It's a ghost shark. So it's really, really cool. And I was reading it, a little bit of it today before I decided to make this thing. And it really is good. I mean, it's, quite honestly, this is like what the comic books used to be like. This is a comic book, I know everyone's like, oh, it's Ghostbusters, it's probably spooky. It's got ghosts in it, but they're not scary ghosts. Like, if you look, They have like the Phantom of the Opera ghost, who's not that creepy, and then of course the Shark ghost, which is freaking awesome. You look at him. You can look at some of the artwork. The ghost shark actually had like a dead body, like well, a skeleton hanging out of it. So I don't know how, whatever. But I didn't really get to the entire book. But it's not creepy. It's actually just like a lot of fun. It's just an awesome looking book. The artwork is, it's pretty damn good, and it's just I can't say greater things about it. It's just really good. And if I had a kid, this is one of the ones I say you can pick up no problem, because it's not a like I don't have to worry about Batman nailing Catwoman in here. And like I said, the ghosts in here, they're not scary. I mean, they're obviously they're ghosts, but they don't look creepy. I mean, all right, maybe some of them, but not really. Let me look at one of them. It doesn't look that creepy, and it was just a good read. Just really, really cool. Yeah. So that's one of the ones that maybe they're especially IDW, which I don't think I've ever heard of. But anyway, IDW, it's a company, I guess. Which I'll have to look into them. Granted, it was a $3.99 book, but this one was actually worth the $3.99 price. It was actually really, really good, and it's got. I know King Joe was counting the pages on there, especially with advertisements and stuff like that, and you have an unbelievable valid point in that. Like in the 80s, I remember how comics, they had it was like 26 to 36 pages, and they didn't have really many, well, they had ads, but it was like 1 or 2 pages of ads. This has, Jesus, 32 pages, and out of the 32 pages, well, it's got more than 32 pages, but 32 pages of actual comic, and it's got 5 pages of ads. That's about it. So it's pretty cool. It's a thick book. So yeah, that was pretty much my lovely comic rant, I guess, and my lovely adventure. Oh man, just insane. Just to get comics, I had to go through hell. But again, King Joe, like I said, you're 100% right. Like it really is insane about how much they charge for comics. And you look at like Todd McFarlane, good example. He is a great artist, and Jim Lee, great artist. You look at them, and you look at like when McFarlane was starting out. I remember reading that, I think it was Amazing Spider-Man 313, the one with the cover of the lizard. He got paid $749 for that book, and where that book turned around, apparently hit a record high. It was like, thousands of dollars, not worth, but it made, 13, 14, 30,000. I don't know what the hell it made, but you look at that, and then now you look at him. He turned around. He made his own company. He's a multimillionaire, and same thing with Jim Lee. Like Jim Lee turned around, was making stuff at Marvel, wasn't making that much money. Turned around, went to DC, was making a fortune. Now he's a millionaire. But you do look at some of the artists, like especially with conventions, like you're talking about with like Stan Lee, how he went from 60 to 100. I was very fortunate. I got a good deal. I bought the VIP ticket, which got me 2 autographs from him and a photo with him, and it gave me 4 days to through the Comic-Con, so I had the 4-day pass basically, and it was pretty cool. They gave you discounts on some food when you had the VIP thing. You were let into the places first, which was cool. So that was kind of worth it. But with Stan Lee, it's kind of funny. Like he's a multi-millionaire, and yet he's charging, $100, $200. I mean, somebody was saying it was like $150 or something like that for an autograph, and like King Joe was, perfectly right. Saying that as long as people keep paying it, he's gonna keep charging it. And I know everyone. I'm the same way. It's Stan Lee. You're like, oh my God, it's Stan Lee. I gotta have his autograph. But it really is insane. But from what I understand with them, it's not entirely the celebrities that are the ones charging it. It's the area, I guess. Like, say you go to Wizard World Comic-Con, whichever one you want to go to. When I was talking to one of the, I guess, managers with them, I was trying to figure stuff out when I was first going. And the manager was saying, he goes, it's not really the celebrities that are charging the fortune. He goes, it's we're paying the celebrity a certain amount of money to be here, and we have to make our money back. So the handlers they give to them are the ones that set the prices, just so that the company can make their money back off of paying the celebrity to show up. So say Stan Lee gets $1 million to show up at a show, he's got to make that $1 million back to go back to them, or they won't. I mean, it's kind of stupid, but they won't ask him back next year. So it's if that particular person doesn't make their, I guess, quota, they're not invited back, or which sometimes I guess people just don't give a shit. They're like, all right, fine, I won't come back. I got my money anyway. I'm out of here. That's one thing that I heard that might be true, which from what I heard it is true. So, but who knows? You never know with celebrity stuff like that, especially anything. But you look at artists, like some artists, like Ethan Van Shiver. When I met him, he charged you money to get an autograph, but he wasn't charging you just like, oh, here, give me $20. He was like, you have to buy one of my prints, and he goes, and I'll sign whatever you want. He's like, it's no big deal. And the prints were like $10, and they were awesome. That's where I got my Batman Green Lantern print, and I loved it. And he signed everything. He signed my print. He signed a stack of books that I've shown before. I got a picture with him, and everything. He's like, hey, go ahead, go nuts. And he was just a really nice guy. Or people like Neil Adams too. He doesn't charge for your first autograph, but then he charges you $5 if you want to get more than one autograph. So basically, you give him something to sign, he signs it for free, and if you want something else signed, you give him $5 and he signs whatever else you want, and that's it. But he's not charging you like I said, like Stanley got hundreds of dollars to get your autograph. Same thing with celebrities; they're not charging you. Some of the artists aren't charging you so much money to just be like, all right, here you go. Like last year, the New York Comic Con, I was just disappointed as hell because I didn't get a chance to meet Jim Lee, but he wasn't charging for anything. But the thing that sucked is he showed up late, left early. And like McFarlane wasn't charging anything. You had to get a raffle ticket, which was, thank God my fiance was smart. She's like, let's go over there and take a look. Because normally I have a battle plan. I'm like, all right, where's everything? I want to know where everything is so I know what I can plan it out. And she's like, all right, let's go over here and see what time he's going to be there. And they said he had raffle tickets, and we were the last two people to get the raffle ticket. So it was pretty cool, and I lucked out then. But yeah, just like again, I'm rambling on and on. But what King Joe was saying is that the prices, like he was saying, get everyone together and just don't buy anything for a month, and that'll send a message. You have a point, but the problem with that is I was talking to people in a comic book store today, especially the one I used to work at, and I was saying like this is what people were talking about, that the price is just insane. And the owner of Bailey's was saying, Tom, he was like, yeah, he's like, you know what, it really is. He goes, I'm not going to lie. He goes, it really is nuts, the amount of money they're charging for new issues. And he goes, quite honestly, he goes, I really don't make that much money off of the new issues because I'm paying, a certain amount, and I have to buy a certain amount of issues and a certain amount of titles just to get a discount off of them. And like I was saying that in another episode I had back then, like how they, how they get their issues and stuff like that. He's like I basically make my money off my statues. I can make money off toys, and I make money off the back issues and the miscellaneous stuff. He's like, but back issues, he goes, thank God now because the new issues are so much money. He's like, people are going after the back issues more. He's like, I'm actually making some money. He's like, finally, for the first time in like 10 years, and I'm like, damn. But yeah. So he was kind of saying the same thing. He's like, yeah. He goes, if everyone turned around and said, I'm not buying any more new issues. He's like, one of the two things would happen. He goes, one, the comic book community, the companies will get the idea and say, you know what, we got to lower this. It's insane. Or two, they'll just stop making new issues. And that's I know that sounds creepy, but that actually could happen because they'd be like, all right, up yours. But it'd probably be the other one. It'd probably be like they would finally lower their prices. But then again, you have to get a lot of people to do that. And, I mean, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see them drop their prices down to, I mean, even if it was $1.99, that's still a lot of money, but it still is better than the friggin' $3.99 price tag that a lot of the DC ones, like Superman and Batman, have, which are the ones I collect. So I'm like, where the other ones are $2.99. All right, I'm spending $3. I'm like, all right, I'm spending $3. But like you said, it adds up, $3, $3. And you're like, oh my God, you go in there with like. I went into the comic store at $80. I have $10 left, even after the discounts. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, that was the other cool thing. They hooked me up. They gave me a discount on my books and Bailey's too, so it was kind of cool. for the old time's sake. But it really does add up, and it's enough's enough with it. It really is insane, the prices, and especially if the rumors are true and Marvel's going to raise their prices to $4.99 a book. You got to be kidding me, because I know Spider-Man is $3.99. I know, I think this one, was it? No, I'm sorry, it was $2.99. Alright, it's not any bad. Daredevil and this one were $2.99. But I know Spider-Man has been $3.99 lately. A couple of the X-Men's are $3.99. And if the rumors are true from what I've been reading in Marvel, they're going to raise the prices for the Marvel now. It's going to be now $4.99. You know, it's just, it's nuts. And if it really is $4.99, I already told my fiance, I was like, I'm buying the first issues, and that's it. I'm done. I'm not spending $4.99 on a book. It's just, I know she was trying to get me like, you know, you got to cut down anyway. But that's just like, that's insane. It's just nuts. You know, they charge you more money, but they're giving you less of a book. Like King Joe was saying, half the book is friggin' advertisements. You know, you get a $5 book and you're done with it in like a minute or so, and you're like, alright, that sucks. But, anyway, enough of my unbelievable rambling and my, my new comic book day after my lovely adventure. And, see everyone, well, actually, if you like what you see, hit the like button. I was about to say that. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Definitely check out my other videos. I hope episode 50 helped out some people. I know Deadpool Rules 91 was saying it helped them out a lot. So, you're welcome. But anyway, one other thing, I'm going to start mentioning people's links because I'm having some kind of weird problem where I can't put the links on the bottom of my screen. I sent a thing to YouTube saying I can't do it. And they were saying something about copyright or some weird crap. So, I don't know. So, I'm actually going to write people's names down. I'm just going to start mentioning them throughout the episodes that I make. Because the people in my links, you know, they do great videos. They're definitely worth watching. You know, you got to check them out. King Joe, Mongo Stomp Time 07, Curse of Man, Deadpool Rules 91. Man, my mind is a blank. You know who you are. But anyway, so next update I make or video, I'm going to just start mentioning people rather than put the links because it's just not working right now. But anyway, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate everything, and I'll see you guys on the next update, which will be next week, unless something really important happens. That's the point of the updates. Or if I make another episode, which I'm working on now. See you guys later.